When people hear we are back, they think Potatoes Gang. And many quickly think Washington and think of such television programs that are fairly similar in their approach, like McLaughlin and Company, like Capital Gang. But the truth is that Potatoes Gang is really a reality show that came, well, to television in a different kind of way. Why is it a reality show? Back in the early 80s, when I first returned from graduate studies in America, about 1982, I was fortunate to live in a nice bungalow in Surulere on Eric Moore Close. And it became a kind of melting pot, a kind of stop place for many of the bright, upwardly mobile, young intellectual types in Lagos. And so on their way back from work, many would just drive into my home, toss their jackets to one corner, and in our shirt sleeves, we'll all begin to debate Nigeria over a beer, over a glass of red wine. What can we do about Nigeria? Years later, that became Potatoes Gang, and we are back.
Hello there, my name is Fumbi and welcome to Potatoes Gang. On today's show, we ask the question, are we really in a recession? And what does that mean? Today on the show, we tackle the subject matter, recession beyond statistics. Welcome.
Well, you know, this recession business, I think we've gone to recession blast that everything now is calibrated in terms of its recession component. But moving more seriously down, you hear big statistics. Unemployment. I think unemployment, in terms of the numbers, went from 7.9 or so million people out of work but in 2015 to about 11 point something million in 2016, and the numbers just keep, you know. And it's always easy to think of recession in terms of are we getting out of recession? You know, these technical things about, you know, quarter on quarter decline in output is, you know, I would say to you, okay, recession, the decline in last quarter of 2016 was less so than the previous decline. We are getting out of recession. Of course, it will move in that direction. But I have always looked at recessions and most historic kind of issues in terms of the point that Cyril Mills, the great sociologist of the 20th century, makes about understanding history. That you have to look at the grand motion of history, the great statistics, 11.2 million people, time for this, and the personal troubles of individuals. Amongst those 11 point whatever number of people are people who have wives who are also in the statistic. And so they are literally dropping completely out of middle class, for example. None of the couple has work and prospects for new work because they're in their 40s and 50s is getting dimmer, because when you get to a certain age, if you don't have work, you're looking for work, it's very unlikely that you get, because the new 26-year-olds are coming and are better suited for work.
That's right.
So, what does this recession really mean beyond statistics? What is this?
You know, Prof, somebody told me just recently that we're not in recession, that we're resetting.
That's a good way to say
yes, we're resetting. So we need to reset the economy, we need to reset our lives, we need to reset a whole lot of things. And was a former president, I think it was Olusegun Obasanjo, that said that he did not need statistics to govern the country. And I said, okay, how would you plan for the growth that is happening in terms of population? How do you plan for cities and urban renewal and all that? More people are coming into Lagos, for instance, and moving to Abuja. How do you plan for all this? You don't need statistics. So, yeah, and you find again that they don't seem to really understand the magnitude of what is happening. You don't order or legislate recession out of the Senate will get together and say, okay, recession, yeah, get out of the way. Or the body language of the president to say, get out of the way, recession. You see, in coming out of recession, it requires the combination of working together of both the producers and the consumers. Now, helping each other. You have the producers will now knock prices down for consumers.
But a very significant part of that whole thing is business confidence.
Yes.
Part of the reason we're in a recession is a certain perception of uncertainty in the environment.
That's right.
And that uncertainty leads to a business confidence crisis. For example, let's take one area like FX. The reason that we got into this situation, and I know that Zio has all kinds of arrangements on this.
It's, international businessman.
Wait a minute, what are these people going to do next? We can't do. So if we don't know what they're going to do, well, let's not, bring in the money that we're going to bring in to invest in that project, or this money that we have before they make another law let's take it out and go and stay safe. So demand for dollar goes beyond real demand, and then we have this crisis.
I think recession, if we use a medical term, recession is like saying sickness. The economy is sick. Now, if you do not diagnose what the sickness is exactly, you are not good. I mean, that I'm sick does not mean you know what's wrong. We need to diagnose it. The statistical confirmation of our recession was in 2015. The reality, recession is a journey. That journey started in 2012 at least. All the indices started heading south. We didn't wake up one day and found ourselves unable to produce, unable to buy FX. We didn't find ourselves one day with unemployment in the 1840 age bracket at 49%. It went from 20 to 25 to 30. It was a gradual process. In that process, we did not take preemptive action. The confirmation that everything in the economy, from production to consumption to manufacturing to foreign exchange flow, cash flow, foreign investors, the confirmation statistically only came in 2015. The reality had been there at least 3 years before. To get out of a recession is like again saying, let's get out of sickness. What is the measure? And for me, there's no particular measure. Even if GDP grows 0.1% for the next 2-3 quarters, if everything else stays exactly the same, we're not out of a recession. We need to look at other metrics like unemployment. That unemployment figure for the 1840 age bracket needs to go from a 49 to less than 20. Those are the kind of metrics we need to look at. We want to look at our manufacturing output. Is maybe, if it's at 4% now, it needs to go to something like 25-30. So it's a journey. It's not a question of let's be out by 2018. No, it's a journey we need to map over the next 5-10 years. Not so that we're out of a recession, but so that we don't get back again.
Yeah, that's the most important point about tracking our way in the fundamental restructuring of the economy. Diversification, we've thrown out words like that. Diversification of the base of our economy and so on and so forth. Why is it not happening? We're talking about manufacturing. We need to get into more manufacturing. The agricultural sector needs to feed into that, so value chains can be. But we see that manufacturing is shrinking, in fact, further and further. I saw a statistic not too long ago that suggests that manufacturing's contribution to GDP dropped by about 90 billion from literally from last year into this year. So
it shouldn't be a surprise that we find ourselves in this lockdown. Raises allusion to Obasanjo's statement that we can govern without statistics. I think it's a fundamental challenge in the management of the economy. Over the years, those in power never gave credence or importance to the use of numbers. And that's because in almost every facet of leadership in this country, that gap is there. The figures are not credible. Don't know the population figure is not correct. It's still controversy. The industrial outputs, there's a big question mark on it. how much does Nigeria really earn in terms of forex? That's a big question mark. How much is expended? So in almost every area, even if you work with the numbers, you're going to be in a serious jam. So some leaders just took arbitrary decision to ignore the figures. But that's not the solution. Like like Zil alluded to that.
We still
You need to know,
numbers.
yes, you need those numbers.
Yeah.
Because if you don't plan, you already plan to fail.
Yeah.
So the recession are setting much longer than the announcement of government last year. And if you look back, you discover that CBN, NNPC reports at times don't come out 3 years after. You want to get the latest account of the Central Bank of Nigeria, what you have will be 3 years back. So the damage will have been done before you know exactly what is happening. So if recession was announced in 2016, possibly it has set in 2012, 2018, like you rightly said. So
significant improvement though, since Kale came to NBS, things have changed fairly significantly, and you need to give him plenty of praise.
Yes.
And you know the amazing thing, government officials are beating up on him every day for providing what they need to work. You know, it's like, why should you say that?
He's under lots of pressure regarding those numbers, but I think if nothing, it was a breath of fresh air when his tenure was really.
He's a real professional.
You know, I was speaking to a group of managers in one insurance company, and I told them, look, that the middle class population is about 38.8 million, and they screamed, "Is this figure correct?" I said, "Yeah." So they can plan. You know, they can really define, come up with products. They can sell to this place, a huge market. You know, imagine when this number goes up. That means the economy will pick up.
Yeah, it's good. Let's keep our markets waiting for a few seconds. And then we'll come and find out how huge they are.
You've heard from the gang. Recession may be termed as resetting, and it's a journey that began in Nigeria in 2012, but with statistical confirmation in 2015. But what do you at home think? Let's go to the streets to find out more.
When the government is sent that way, it will be reduced. The number of people that are just striving to get there.
Now, what we can do to reset the recession is, number one, for us to create job opportunity for people. Because there are a lot of people who are out there who are jobless. Now, most of the petty things they do, like you see hawkers, most of the money they are getting from what they do, I think it's not enough for them to stay in these times of recession. But if there are a lot of job opportunity for them, I think they can come out of it.
If our country good, there's nothing we can travel out for. And what is going on in this country, not only Buhari alone can divide us. What was the sum of the governor? Go to my state in Ekiti State. There's no any company there. Students are suffering. Many things are happening there. I'm talking about Ayodele Fayose. That's the governor of Ekiti State. Though he's trying, but we want it to continue more so that peace will reign.
We know that we have a challenge of statistics for work, but given the statistics that we have, we know that we have a huge youth bulge that is not working. We know that we have this huge youth bulge that requires massive investment in education, healthcare, if we are going to reap a demographic dividend, which is looking Nigeria in the face. There's a possibility. And we know that if we don't, we will reap anarchy. Now, how are we working this path away from recession such that we truly harvest a demographic dividend with this huge number of young persons who are waiting to follow politicians around and do all kinds of non-value adding things, but who could be producing and helping us produce our way out of poverty?
You know, each time I remember what Dr. Christopher Kolade told me over lunch some time ago, that his fear was, and still is, that one day that the young people who are unemployed, there'll be a revolt, and they go into the big man's houses, the big men, the houses, all in Banana Island and all these places, and drive them away. And if is that your house or your life, whichever one. And one thing that makes a nation is the ability to plan for the younger generation. I was at Ojoleba to get something, and I sent my driver to buy something, and I was waiting in the car. And one woman was just talking as if she was talking to herself. How can Nigeria be good when fathers are still occupying the positions of their children? So unless the fathers step aside for the children to come in, and there's no way the country can be good. And I was just listening and saying, yeah, fathers are occupying and sitting on the seat of their children and say that tomorrow belongs to the children. Tomorrow will never come. Those children will die, and the father will maybe live longer than the children. So it's important that we begin to plan for the children. I remember, my last visit to Singapore, that there was a phone conversation with the Prime Minister, and people phoned in, and the 5-year-old said that, Mr. Prime Minister, in 50 years I'll be 55. What is your plan for me, so that when I grow up, I make sure I have a job, I have a house, and I have amenities? And the Prime Minister said to her that you have already planned. That's why the country they've been building down, they want to start building up, so that they can accommodate in 15 years' time, people like you will make sure they have a home.
It is really important to talk planning and where we're going. In the context of the recession and moving towards a plan, ultimately breaking the mode of where we are going, there must be certain sectors that we have to be emphasizing to break out of these depths that we are in, and sectors that will obviously employ more people, because you have options. There are sectors you can go into and drive, and you can get growth, but you don't have people employed, and that is big time trouble. There are other sectors that you can get more out. I mean, do we even have thought about policy? Somebody asked me, European, the other day, in a country like yours, are you not thinking about incentives for businesses, tax breaks? If you employ more people, you get a better tax rate. And I thought, that's thoughtful, And we don't think like that. We don't do things like that, whereas we should be. If our focus is on, if our priorities are right, we do planning, and we say, wait a minute, we need to employ X number of people. Singapore does it to almost to a fault. I mean, they we need 211 chemical engineers. We need 620 whatever. And if you don't choose one of those, well, you're your own. That's excessive, I think. But we need to be planning in those kinds of ways. Can we really expand this economy as it should be if we don't take value chains that we can be globally competitive in, and that can employ people relative to our population growth rate, and therefore do everything, have champions that are driving those kinds of sectors?
I think that is the missing gap in the strategy to challenge the current recession. We've not seen public statements that this is the direction we're going. For example, if the government decides to choose building and construction industry, for example, that sector alone has more than 30 or 40 subsectors. We have Nigeria as a country a deficit of 17 million houses. If we decide as a national policy to follow that route, that the next 2 years we're going to build these millions of houses, paint industry will come in, and paint industry alone has more than 15 sub-suppliers. Wood industry will have a role to play. Glass, iron and steel, ceramics, mention it. You can energize the economy with that policy. And if effort is put behind that, you find that jobs will get created.
That's right.
Without government having to, by fiat, create this level
that's
of
what
employment.
I said, moving away. Government should move away from the supply mindset to demand mindset, so they can achieve what.
But beyond whatever we do, for it to be sustainable, we can't talk employment without talking education. So if you employ this crop of people in what the educational sector is what feeds every single sector, the aviation sector, the medical sector, every sector comes through the education sector. If what comes out of the education sector is substandard, it's only a matter of time before it crumbles again.
That's right.
So in whatever we're building, we need to understand that we have lost already 20-25 years of feedstock. We need to understand that, and start working that in 20, 25 years, what will come out of the education sector will be enough and strong enough to support the economy. And as Prof said, regarding value chain, we keep talking of diversifying from sector to sector. And I keep saying that we need to understand that there are two sectors. To come out of the problem of Nigeria, we need to understand there are only two sectors. There's the extractive, or what you would call the raw material sector, and the productive sector. And if we don't think along those lines, so what we're doing, other than self-sustenance on food, other than that, you would find that the push into agric is no different from the push into oil. We're going to farm, we're going to produce tomatoes, we're going to export tomatoes, we're going to import tomato paste. So we need to put a lot of effort and energy. Productive sector or the extractive sector attracts funding. You don't see oil companies looking for money. Money looks for them. That's how the extractive sector works. The productive sector that involves manufacturing, that's where the real job creation is. ExxonMobil, Shell, Total, all those companies put together don't employ 25,000 people put together.
Less than 20,000 actually.
So, but if you look at any manufacturer, as a manufacturing concern, one outfit alone may employ 4,000 or 5,000 people, and we should have thousands.
In those sectors. Yeah, no, that's no question. It's about really thinking value chains and trying to become globally competitive to dominate certain value chains. Now, if you are the best quality, lowest cost producer of rubber components, that is literally millions of jobs, quality jobs, and your ability to dominate that value chain just gives you all kinds of possibilities. That's foreign exchange. That's opening up of opportunities for allied sectors and so on and so forth. So taking a couple of areas, say we talk about agriculture now, so you take one or two agricultural produce, rubber, cocoa, or whatever, you want to dominate the world in producing this, the whole value chain. You go to some other area, maybe it's an IT area, given the number of people we have, and if you teach those kids coding and all of that, and just do massively, I mean,
there's no way all these value chains can happen without science and technology. So I'm even surprised that even the budget for the science and tech this thing is so it's 20-something billion, so this is that we are not even, so everything happens, agriculture, manufacturing, the extractive sector, everything hinges on how technologically developed that we are, so that technology can also drive it. So we also need to invest and focus on that science and tech so that we can become original equipment manufacturers and stuff like that, so that we can drive.
Fortunately, time is not our best friend, but it is clear that this is beyond just basic statistics, but the application of those statistics to wealth creation and building of global value chains. That's the way we can not only get out of recession, but build sustainable, superior performance over competing economies around the world. All right.
Well, that's what we have time for on today's show. And just like the gang has said, recession is a sickness that we must diagnose appropriately, and we must understand the measure to which it has affected our society. Remember that you can catch all the previous episodes of Patito's Gang by going to our YouTube channel, that is at Patito's Gang TV. Make sure you subscribe as well. Also, follow us on all our social media handles that are being displayed on your screen right now. Till next time, my name is Fumbi Ogunbawo. Take care.